Yeah, it's recording. Hopefully. Okay, welcome again. So topic is foundations of entrepreneurship. Here, my objective of teaching this subject to you is not necessarily to make you an entrepreneur. In today's world, today's corporate world actually want that you guys become entrepreneurial, meaning that you can make decisions based on the risk and return perspective, meaning you take a holistic view about what is the implication of your decision, and depending on the return possibilities, then you make a decision. You take responsibility as well. It's not just you take a decision and they say, sorry, I took a decision and it went haywire. So you take a decision almost as if the company is yours and you are managing it. So you have a global perspective about the company, and you know what is good and bad for the company. To know that, you actually need to understand what entrepreneurship is all about and what kind of challenges, opportunities, threats, etc., weaknesses that a company has, and you should be able to exploit your opportunities and whatever resources you have to alleviate the risk and threats so that the company grows as a sustainable concern. The date actually is old, so I'm sorry. I'm using previous semester slide, but I have made some changes. Every time I make changes. So expect that there will be a lot of changes moving forward. This is just introduction. Okay, I start with an example that will bring all of you on board. Suppose some of you, maybe 2 of you or 3 of you, after graduation, go to a village and you have a kind of a vision that you want to do something for the society, not necessarily for the poor. You know, whenever we do something for the society, we do something for ourselves. Never it is possible that you do something for others and you don't do good to yourselves. At the same time, you cause damage to others. There is hardly a possibility that you will not create damage to yourselves. This is not philosophy. These are truth, and you will gradually, increasingly appreciate these two statements. That if you do something good to somebody, you do good to yourselves, vice versa. Now, suppose 3 of you decided that, okay, after graduation, let us not look for a job. Let us try to do something for the rural people, or maybe let us be our own boss or something. Then you arrive in a village and you see that there are a lot of agricultural produce, but then the condition of the villagers are poor all the same. Means always they never improve because of many reasons. You try to understand the reason why people are perennially poor, even though they are producing so much, and the city lives are dependent on many agricultural inputs, not just rice, not just wheat. Anything that you see around, talk about textile, talk about medicine, talk about chemicals, talk about anything. Majority of the inputs of industry are from rural areas. So you want to do something good to the rural areas. You have identified that paddy is grown means paddy is all pervasive. Everywhere paddy is grown, for example, or maybe we take paddy as an example. Now you see that whenever the harvest season arrives, there are wholesalers who come to the village, and then they just almost like snatch all the produce, because villagers are indebted to them, and there is a condition, unwritten or written sometimes, that whenever there is produce, they have to sell it to them at the prevailing price, and prevailing price is determined by this wholesaler. There is a nexus going on between millers, wholesalers, and all other intermediaries. So they decide that, okay, paddy price will be, or potato or anything price will be something like this. They always, dictate the terms and dictate the supply, dictate who will buy. There are situations when there will be no buyers, meaning that there are buyers, but they are hiding themselves behind the walls. And when price will go down, farmers will be absolutely at distress. They will have to sell, otherwise they cannot they cannot buy their other essentials, then they will arrive and they will command a price. That happens. So you decide that let us, at least in a particular village, let us start a revolution to give these farmers an intermediate system that will not exploit them. And let us create value for ourselves, meaning you want to become richer, but at the same time you can create riches for the poor, for the rural population, not necessarily poor. So you decided that, okay, let us start a rice mill here. And what we are going to do is we'll have a storage facility, some silos where you will buy all the paddy during harvest season, but you will not really pay them the whole money. Suppose you pay only 20%, and you don't determine the price at this point of time. You tell the farmers that your paddy will remain here. We are paying you some upfront money, but the price will be decided. I'm sorry, maybe some student actually wanted to talk. Just 1 second, let me see. I just disconnected the number. Let me check if this is a student and if there is some information somebody wants to talk to. I'm not sure whether it's interactive because I have muted you. Can somebody send me a message in the chat box whether you are hearing? Hello? Pardon? Okay, just a second. But I don't see any pending request.
So many of our requests are been there, which have been not accepted.
But I see that all requests have been accepted. I don't see any pending request. There are some requests here and there, but the main app shows no pending requests.
I can see like a request has been sent foundation water free.
Right, but let me see. The first day it should. Just a minute. Actually, whenever there is a request, it pops up, and then I click. Then it takes me to the app, and I immediately accept all, meaning there should be no individualistic action. It's all accept all. Okay, so are you already allowed, or you are still waiting?
Not yet allowed actually. It's showing request sent, but it's not.
Okay, I see that there are a lot of pending requests now. So what's your good name?
Aditya Sawant.
Aditya, yeah, your name was there in the.
I've been added to the
Right. I see your name.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the first teething problem for technology. Never mind. We have a long way to go.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, some students are saying that you have not approved them in MS Teams yet, so they cannot join the class.
There is no approval system. I just sent the link. So anybody with the link should be able to join.
Sir, there are some requests pending, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I joined by an invite. You haven't yet accepted
Join
my
by
request.
invite and request is not necessary. Because I sent the link. Yeah, some people are still wasting, like Piyasha Mitro have approved just now. Mekala Surajit Varma have approved just now. So there should be no issue at all. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, I'll not show slides on a presentation mode, because in that case I won't be able to see. For the time being. Okay. So yeah, so you have arrived in a village and you saw and you tried to understand the pain of the population. And when you saw the pain, you realized that there is a lot of opportunities here to alleviate the pain at one place. And whenever you alleviate somebody's pain, there is an opportunity for you to create wealth for yourselves and create wealth for the nation. That is the story today, meaning how entrepreneurs try to identify opportunities in adversities and create wealth for the people with the pain and for themselves and for the nation. And entrepreneurs are highly revered people. We need to understand when we talk about say Mukesh Ambani, Anil Ambani, of course, is now not doing so well, or say anybody else for that matter. We draw two pictures. One is as if they're exploiting the country and creating wealth for themselves. The other is that they're actually helping the nation, not only to get new products and services, but also create enormous amount of wealth for the nation. Not only they provide some lakhs of jobs, but they give a lot of taxes to the government, and government use that money for creating infrastructure. Not only that, for anything and everything. Whenever there was COVID and they say Ratan Tata donated 15,000 crore rupees or something, just imagine with that money only we could do so much for the people, like transferring money to people their accounts directly, etc., etc. There's so much. There is a hishish noise. I think some people are yet to mute their mics. This noise is not so bothersome, but nevertheless, if you check your mic and please, yeah, like Harsh mic was open and that was.
Sir, someone muted you, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Rajesh, I'm in a class. I'll call you back. Yeah. Okay. It is not necessary that somebody intentionally muted me. In the last class, I used to suffer from that complex that somebody is doing some mischief. But later I realized I opened too many meetings simultaneously, and then the system actually mutes me. So I'll not on the fly. I'll not make a comment like that somebody has muted. But we'll check that. Maybe by mistake I gave admin power or presenter privilege to some people. We'll sort that out. Of course, there is always a difference of technology savviness between you guys, the present generation, and between our generation. That is very difficult to bridge, whatever much we try, because there's so much of information and our memory is so blocked. Now, if suppose I try to see some new software, I won't be able to fathom it so quickly as you will be able to do. Whatever. So you decide that, okay, let us put up a rice mill and it will cost you something like 25 lakh rupees. Suppose 3 of you bring 5 lakh rupees from your parents and 20 lakh comes from the bank. Now you need some women to dry the rice. You need some men to boil the rice. You need some people to supply you firewood for boiling the paddy. Then gradually you find that you give directly or indirectly jobs to maybe some 25 people. It's no storytelling. It's absolute fact. It will be much more than 25. Then once you start paying salary to these people, they get money every month. At the end of the month, they become highly empowered. They start thinking, sending their children to school. They start affording some medicine. So you need a small health center. So you will be kind of putting some health center by yourselves, and the villagers will be allowed to come there. Maybe a doctor will visit once in a day, maybe for an hour or so. Then you need communication. So maybe you talk to the panchayat and the roads are maybe concretized or something, not pakka or something. And at the end, you will find that a small school will be coming up, a small tea shop will be installed in the front of your factory where villagers will gather in the evening, and there will be a wonderful, chit chat party there. You bring happiness to them. You give employment to a tea vendor, to a grocery store, to an educated unemployed who start a school. The whole village actually gets benefited. Everybody in the gate, even somebody who does not take your service at all, he also gets benefited. Like there will be a rickshaw puller who depend on traffic of your company, but then at emergency he gets that rickshaw and then reaches to the hospital or maybe to a station to catch a train. Now his life also is much better. So I'm just trying to give you a bigger picture of an enterprise that has been promoted with 25 lakh rupees only, and only 5 lakh rupees came from entrepreneur. So you can extrapolate that and you can think of the things that are possible through entrepreneurship. Now let us move forward fast. Questions to be answered I have already shared with you. I don't want to waste time. Now, before we move forward, let us define some terms that I will be using very frequently. One is value proposition. When you think of coming up with some idea to start a business, how do you think? Where do you get the idea? You get the idea not from an idea per se. You get the idea from a pain. From a pain. Some people have some pain. Maybe say they have stomach pain, they have headache, or they have say whatever pain that you can think of, emotional, psychological, physical, or whatever. They have a pain. Now you try to understand what is this pain, and are there solutions available in the marketplace? How sufficient that solutions are? You talk to people, they say these solutions are useless and we are buying those solutions because we have no alternative. Now you think whether you can come up with a better solution and whether people are ready to pay for that. So you realize you come up with ideas that yes, there is a better solution and you can offer that solution at a competitive price with better efficacy, whatnot. See, I said stomach pain. Suppose you have antacid. The people want antacid tablet. Now you come up with antacid has a lot of side effect. If you can avoid taking an antacid tablet throughout your life, that is a much better option than just gobbling up 1, 2, 3, 4 whenever you need. Side effects are many, actually many. Know for a fact, every chemical, every tablet that you gobble up has a half-life, like half-life in atomic radiation. Every chemical has a half-life, meaning that you take an antacid tablet, there is a period, maybe 1 year, 5 year, even there are medicine with half-life of 100 years. That means half the medicine will go outside your body through the standard metabolism. It will take 100 years for that to happen, meaning half the medicine will go out of your body in 100 years. You Google search, go to Wikipedia about half-life of a medicine, you will understand and you will get really alerted that we should not gobble up pills just like that. And whenever a foreign body is there in your body, in your real body, it always repulses. That is the general, general system of a body. It repulses the foreign body. That is why antibody is created. That is how the whole vaccine works. Whenever there is a foreign body, immediately our body tries to resist that through creation of antibody, and there is a whole chemistry you should read and understand, because as a human being, if you do not understand what is happening in our body, then what do we understand? Take some time and try to understand this, whatever. So suppose these people have this
hello sir, I'm audible.
Go ahead.
Sir, somebody is continuously removing me from the meeting. Could you make everyone as attendees?
That's what I try to do, but then
you have 3 dots on the top right column. So you have been muted.
3 dots and then meeting details or meeting notes, meeting options. Then who can present? Oh, there is everybody, only me. Save. I think that should work. And then meeting options. Meeting details. Is it okay now? Okay, let us see. Hopefully. Okay. Now, the value proposition means what? Yeah, I was talking about antacid. Now, suppose you come up with some natural herbs of something that actually alleviate this pain, and it keeps the acidity away for a longer time. So efficacy is better, life is better, meaning, and then perhaps there is no side effect. And if it is natural things, maybe the half life is mere a few hours or few days. So whatever way we look at it is much more. It is superior compared to whatever is available, which means that you are providing a product that has better value compared to whatever is being provided by competitors, existing competitors. This is called value proposition. The package of values, the list of values that you have packaged in your offering is called value proposition. GDP, as you already know, that GDP is nothing but the total expenditure production on one side and income on the other side. GDP is defined in two ways. One is expenditure and production, and another side is the total income. So it is the monetary or market value of all the finished goods and services produced within a country's border in a specific time period. I'm actually reading from a comment. Don't worry. I know the definition, but then while speaking, I should not speak something which go haywire. Okay, so yeah, there are some more terms. Velocity of money is very important, but I'll actually kill a lot of time by explaining all of that. Let me see where I kept the watch. Just a second. There is a clock placed here. I don't know if I remove that. Yeah, it's here hidden. This should actually remain at the top. Okay, right. So we are almost halfway through. Velocity of money is very important term, economics term, but then everybody should understand it and appreciate. Suppose you come from Kharagpur to IIT campus. You pay 100 rupees to a rickshaw puller, and what the rickshaw puller will do, he will take 100 rupees and go to a grocery store, buy the groceries, go home, and he will spend almost 100 rupees, hypothetically. And this grocer, what he will do at the end of the week, he will try to replenish his stock. So he will send that 100 rupees along with lot other money to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler will immediately issue a check. He has already issued check to Hindustan Levers and other companies, and he will immediately put the money into his current account. Money will be transferred to Hindustan Lever account and many other accounts. And then from there, Hindustan Lever and other companies will have already issued checks. The money will go to their vendors. So money will make rotations. Forget about rotation. See how quickly this 100 rupees has moved from one hand to another, to another, to another. Now suppose you give this 100 rupees to Mukesh Ambani. See, for whatever reason, you attend a meeting and you give him for experiment. You just tell him that, sir, this is 100 rupees for the cup of tea that you offered. Keep it. So he will put that money in his drawer, hypothetically. He may forget about it for a year. This money has no velocity. It doesn't move. Whereas the money that you give it to a rickshaw puller has a lot of velocity. Who creates velocity? The goods and services create velocity. If I need to buy something, I give money and the money gains velocity. If I don't do that, then the money will not gain velocity. So entrepreneurs, through their products and services, create goods and service and give velocity to money. And every time money changes hands, it creates value, economic value. Like you gave money to rickshaw puller, you created economic value for the rickshaw puller. And the rickshaw puller went to the shop, whatever he bought some soaps, some other things. Everything has GST tagged. So in the process, he gives some money to the government. Whenever he purchases something, he pays GST to the government, and government gains money, and eventually government gives you electricity to IIT Kharagpur, roads to IIT Kharagpur. All the money that they give to IIT Kharagpur comes from this 100 rupees that you pay to the rickshaw puller. So it's a cycle. You pay to the rickshaw puller pays to government pays to IIT, and you have wonderful roads and electricity and all other amenities that IIT has. That is how entrepreneurs create wealth for the nation and whatnot. And that is why velocity of money is so very important. Value of money. Again, at the cost of time, I'm trying to explain. Value of money. One is time value of money. That means if you have 100 rupees in your pocket, you don't spend that, you don't invest that in the bank, keep it in the bank, you put it under the pillow or maybe somewhere. This money will remain 100 rupees even in the next year. Say 1st of January, you get 100 rupees from somebody, put it somewhere and never move that. That 100 rupees will remain 100 rupees. Whereas suppose you put that in a savings bank account. Now savings bank interest rate is 3% for example. So you put that money in the savings bank account, and the next year, 1st January, you will see a statement, 3 rupees has been added to that 100 rupees. So 100 rupees becomes 103 rupees. Now if 100 rupees is kept somewhere, it loses value by 3 rupees. So that is what is time value of money. Suppose somebody gives you 100 rupees today and he returns after 1 year, you lose value. That is what is time value of money. So if the person says that I'll return you money after 1 year, then you have to tell him, you have to return me 110 rupees. Because if I put that money somewhere, that somewhere is going to give me 100 rupees of interest. So you have to return me 110 rupees to save me from losing value. If you don't give me 110, I lose value, I become poorer. When you return me 100 rupees, I am a poorer man because I actually get 90 rupees, not 100 rupees. I lose 10% because everything, value of everything is not value. Price of everything is increasing. So whatever I can buy today with 100 rupees, I won't be able to buy the same thing in the next year. That is why value of money, that is time value of money. Secondly, value of money also changes with exchange rate. Exchange rate. I'll elaborate this with an example and very quickly, because this is not core part of the entrepreneurship, but then you should appreciate that entrepreneurs actually decreases value of money. Means they have a hand on value of money. Mostly they increases the value of money. With an example, suppose your dad has, where should I start? Okay, 2 examples. Suppose your dad has 10 lakh rupees in the bank, or say not 10 lakh. Say your dad has 1 crore rupees in the bank. 1 crore rupees. 1 crore rupees is equal to say $1,30,000 in today's exchange rate, roughly $1,30,000. How many dollar makes a million? $10 lakh makes a million. Now your dad has only $1,30,000, though he has 1 crore rupees in the bank. Suppose by something, say next year, the rupee becomes not 70 rupees to a dollar, but 7 rupees to a dollar. Rupee becomes 7 rupees to $1. Today it is 70 rupees to a dollar. Actually 73. Forget about that. Just for rounding off. Today it is 70 rupees. Next year it becomes 7 rupees to a dollar. Now your dad will go to the bank. He will look at his money. He will still see 1 crore 30 lakh with interest. That may be 1 crore 40, 50 lakh. Say 1 crore 50 lakh. Now, if he thinks of converting that into dollar, he's going to convert that into something like $2 lakh. $20 lakh, not $2 lakh, $20 lakh. Get this? That means your dad has become $2 million owner. Suddenly he became double millionaire. Just because the rupee has gained value. Your dad did nothing. Your dad did not do anything, but his value Now in the global market is $2 million. With $2 million, you can buy a wonderful house in US or anywhere in the world. You will have enough surplus to buy a car and, you know, lavishly live there your entire life. With 1 crore rupees, you may not be able to do anything in US. You won't be able to buy a house with 1 crore rupees. That is $1,30,000. A very entry level house with single bedroom and all that is going to cost you something like $1,50,000. And then you need other things as well. There are so many other things necessary to live. So without doing anything, the rupee, because the rupee has become 1 rupee to 7 rupee to 7 rupee to a dollar, from 70 rupees to a dollar, value, that means rupee value has gone up. That is what is value for money. Now why this is important? Another context. Remember, I may put up a question on this. I may actually put up a question on this in the first class test. Suppose you manufacture a plastic pen like this. I don't know whether you can see whether, yeah, my video is on. So you manufacture this plastic pen. It's a good pen. Now suppose this manufacturing cost of this pen is 50 rupees. 50 rupees is the manufacturing cost. And today's dollar rate is 73 rupees. Now suppose somebody in US purchases this pen from you for $1. He sells it there for whatever money that he likes, maybe 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is his business. But he pays you $1, say 50 rupees. He pays you, no, not 50 rupees, $1. So when you go to a bank, convert that on dollar, you get 73 rupees. You make a profit of 23 rupees on your cost, because cost is 50 rupees all inclusive. Now you get 73 rupees credited to your bank account for every pen that you export. 23 rupees profit. You are so happy. You are so happy that, you know, this you make a 23 rupees profit for a 50 rupees. So it's almost like say 23% profit. You are amply happy. Now suppose, no, not 23. It's much more. I think 40 something. Yeah. So now suppose the rupee appreciates, say through whatever means, that is a different discussion. We'll complete that now. Suppose the rupee appreciates to 50 rupees. Now this guy who is importing from US will not like to give you more. He will give you only $1 to a pen, because nothing happened in US. He can sell this pen for $1.5 and he was selling for $1.5. Now if you tell him that, you know, our rupee has become more valuable, so I cannot sell at $1, he's not going to listen. He is going to transfer you $1 for a pen, and you open your bank account, whatever account, wherever money has been deposited, you see that only 50 rupees has been credited. Now you have no profit. Suddenly profit has been evaporated without anything happening in your factory. Your labor cost is same, your input cost is same, everything is same. Your cost of production is 50 rupees. Now suppose rupee appreciates to 40 rupees to a dollar. You are gone. Your business is gone. Get this? So there are two sides of this value. Your dad becomes richer because his money is getting appreciated without doing anything. A businessman who is trying to sell abroad is fast losing competitive advantage. Now there is another part to this story. Suppose this pen has some components. Suppose the nib of this tip of this pen is imported from Japan, and the tip actually costs something like 40 rupees. The plastic cost is 5 rupees. The labor cost and all other costs is another 5 rupees. Okay. Now, because the rupee has appreciated, this 40 rupees that you used to pay to the Japanese will go down drastically. Suppose Japan also charges you in dollar. So because the dollar has appreciated, this guy who is supplying you the component will still charge you. Suppose they charge you $0.5 for this component, $0.5. So now $0.5 has become only 20 rupees. So your cost of production is not 50 rupees now. It is 20 rupees for the tip and 10 rupees for all other cost, which is local cost. So 20 plus 10 is 30 rupees. Now the guy who is importing from US gives you $1, $1 faces you 50 rupees, and your total cost is 20 plus 30, 20 plus 10 is 30. So you still make 20 rupees of profit. So can you see this mathematics? When you are importing, you are benefited because the rupee value is going up. When you are exporting, you are not gaining. And when you are actually, so there is always this import export complication in foreign exchange rate. So if we are importing from China some product and selling to the local market, and if the rupee appreciates, we become more profitable. If rupee depreciates, our import cost goes up and we can no longer sell in the local market, because local market, nothing has changed. Get this? So try to understand this holistically. I'm going to put up a question with all those jugglery, and you have to give a decision whether your profit is going up or down or anything. Now, I'm shouting too much actually. Now, there are something, today, because this is introduction, I'll be visiting many things simultaneously. Our time actually is coming, is kind of progressing very fast, so I should be fast. This I'll revisit later. Just let me tell you, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you need three kinds of mentality. One is insurgent mission. Insurgent means the people who do not care about their lives. They have a mission to achieve, and they will always try to achieve that mission no matter what. Entrepreneurs are like this. They will not think whether they will have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, or they will have to spend the whole day without eating anything, or whatever. It can be anything. It's not just, putting pressure on your physical body, but maybe they will have to stress. They will have to push their boundary everywhere. So they have this insurgent mission. Otherwise, they will not be able to be successful. They cannot say that I will sit at the corner room, the CEO's room, and my people should work for me. Never happens. Owner's mindset. They take responsibility of all their action. They know that the business belongs to them. Even some employees have this mentality. They feel that they own the business, and that is why whenever something goes wrong, they will immediately try to firefight and stay overnight and give the service so that everything is up and running. They are the right kind of employees. They have owner's mentality. Employees who have owner's mindset, they are the right people to recruit at the beginning. Obsession with front line. Front line means where you interface with customers. If you're interfacing with customer, you show your product. He will say, bullshit. Your product is bullshit. And you don't say, go to hell. You say, I'm sorry, sir. Can you give me some more input? Can you be more specific so that I can come back with a better product? I will talk to my designer and come back with a better product. Only then you become successful. You say, go to hell, your business is gone. So you have an obsession that anybody who is coming to my counter will not go away without a product in their bag. I will make sure that he or she becomes a customer. That is what is obsession about. Obsession with the front line. Front line is not only customer. Front line is now what you see, the military who are facing Chinese at the LOC, line of control. That is the front line. And when you are at the front line, you will not keep any stone unturned to kill the enemy. Whatever. Let's not go into controversial thing. It's not controversial, but then my wordings may not be suitable. Now, I started by saying that entrepreneurs can identify opportunities in adversities. Adversities meaning when everybody is running for their lives. So whenever people are running for their lives, or people are avoiding to enter into something, some domain or whatever, people are somehow managing with pain, that is the place to identify an opportunity. And presently there are so much opportunity because human beings are facing an existential crisis. The more severe the crisis, the better is the opportunity. Just look at the vaccine manufacturer. They are going to create a fortune for themselves, unthinkable fortune for themselves. China is creating fortune for the country, entire nation, because they are ahead of everybody in coming up with the vaccine. Of course, nobody will trust them because they did not administer this vaccine to the Chinese as yet. They have just started day before yesterday or yesterday. After a lot of testing, before testing, they have already sold to many other countries. Whatever, that's another discussion. Now, Winston Churchill once said, never let a good crisis go to waste. If you see everybody is running away, don't start running, because like a hard effect, don't start running with them. Just try to understand why people are running away. What is there? Then you see, okay, there is a crisis. Something is chasing them. Now you try to understand what is chasing them. Can I do something to push that away? You create value for yourself, value for people who are running away, and you create wealth. That is an opportunity. So crisis actually opens up new opportunity. Remember this. There are many definitions of entrepreneurship. You read them. I'll share the slides right now, and you should be able to read all those. But there are some definitions, some elements I would like to gradually add, so that you have a holistic view about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship actually is innovation driven, meaning there should be innovation that drives an enterprise. Then you call that as entrepreneurial venture. Why so? Because you can always put up a grocery store next to another store. If that store is making some money, you will also make some money. That is not an entrepreneurial venture. Suppose you put up a grocery store by the side of an existing grocery store, but then you bring in innovation in that. How you make a portal where people can order, and then you tell people, why do you come during COVID time? You don't have to come. You just log in and order. I'll send somebody with the goods and they will deliver at the doorstep. Done. So people will come to your store rather than going to them. And you can add many other innovations, very petty innovations that people will value. Eventually, you will find that there is nobody at the counter. You are just packaging goods. Then you will think that, why don't I open another store elsewhere? So there will be a chain of stores. So you will gain growth that is not feasible by the next door grocery store. They will never be able to start another store because they will need a lot of manpower. You don't need manpower. You just need the back office where you can pack everything and then send goods. So you can gain growth. Growth is another component of entrepreneurship. One is innovation, another is growth. These two together actually gives you enormous opportunities. There is another term that is there, and I would like to cover that. That is corporate entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship. If you join Google, many other companies, they will tell you that you have 8 hours of duty in the company, but 20% of the time belongs to you. You don't have to work for Google for this 20% time. You will have a separate room, separate infrastructure. You work, you try to develop anything that comes to your mind. You be creative, and then you develop. Then you refine that let that becomes a product. This product will belong to you, not to Google. Google will come to you whenever you are ready to discuss whether you want to sell it to Google or sell it to somebody else, or whatever you want to do with that. Google will help you to do that. They even can become partner. So this is called corporate entrepreneurship. With a view to retain top talent who are creative talent. Creative talents are very difficult to retain. With a view to retain them, companies like Google and many others, particularly Mahindra and Mahindra in India, they are trying to offer this platform to creative talent, top talent, so that they cannot blame the company for not being able to exploit their creative side of the mind and then create value for themselves, not just for company. They can create value for them, for the company, for the society, for the country, everything. So that is what is corporate entrepreneurship. Now, a small business remains a small business as long as they don't become creative, like the one that I have just mentioned. And that is why majority of the all entrepreneurship businesses are running based on incremental innovation and remaining ahead of competition through innovation. Get this? And this can be driven home by, one is Peter Schumpeter, sorry, not Peter Schumpeter. He was, what Schumpeter? Some Schumpeter. Economics student will tell me. Some Schumpeter. He was an economist, great economist. I think he was Austrian, and then he settled in Germany for some time, eventually in US. He said, long back, I think 1934, 35 or so, he said creative destruction will define success of entrepreneurship. Creative destruction meaning people will come up with innovation that will destroy existing business and create new businesses. That is how the next generation entrepreneurship will be defined. And that is why over a period of 60 years, from 1955 to 2014, 88% of Fortune 500 companies became extinct. Meaning either they became bankrupt or they merged with some other companies. Why? Because newer generation companies came up with innovation, they killed those companies. And that is why, very aptly, Facebook has this slogan. If you happen to join Facebook, they will give you this little red book. They call it Facebook's little red book. And in one particular page, it is written this: if we do not create something that can kill Facebook, somebody else will create and Facebook will be killed and there will be no Facebook. So we better create it before anybody else. We create that can kill Facebook so that nobody can kill Facebook, because nobody will be able to create that, and we'll always remain ahead of competition. Try to understand that, try to think over it for some time, and then try to understand the depth of this statement. Facebook is standing on this slogan. If you definitely know that Facebook acquired WhatsApp in 2015, 16 or something. When Facebook acquired WhatsApp, WhatsApp was valued by venture capitalists at $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion. And then Mark Zuckerberg wrote a check of $19 billion, not 1.5, $19 billion to acquire that company. Can you guess why? Because if Zuckerberg would not have acquired WhatsApp, WhatsApp would have been killed by Facebook would have been killed by WhatsApp, because WhatsApp was acquiring users at a pace, and people are migrating from Facebook to WhatsApp at a pace that Facebook would have lost all vigor, all relevance. So whatever price they commanded, Zuckerberg paid that. But then he's not a loser. He could save both Facebook and WhatsApp. Now it's more than $1,000 billion company. So 19 billion makes it's almost like peanuts for Zuckerberg at this point of time. But without that $19 billion, it would have been zero. That's what happened to Yahoo. That is another story we'll be talking later. Now, vision we'll be talking slightly later. We have another class on mission vision, I suppose. If not, then in the next class, I'll start with mission vision. I have very little time. I would like to cover more. So now you can understand why you should aspire to become an entrepreneur. Not only you want to become your own boss, you can create your own wealth. You can create wealth for the nation. You can create wealth for the society. Social responsibility, like the example that I gave at the beginning, spending maybe 20 minutes of time, valuable time, but then all that can now be appreciated. Whatever is there in the slides can now be appreciated, that we all should become entrepreneur to create all those. Otherwise, at the end of your life, you will realize that after passing from IIT Kharagpur, you have spent a life which is not much different compared to a clerk who was just an ordinary graduate and work in a bank. The difference is that he is living in a 2-bedroom apartment and you are living maybe in a 5-bedroom apartment with a luxury car or something. But if you become an entrepreneur, not only you can do all of that, you can do much good to your own folks, like your extended family. Everybody can, become richer, and then the society will become richer. You will feel, oh my God, I have given lives to so many people. 1,000 people work for me, and their entire family fortune depends on my company. What? You just do one good thing to one guy, maybe to a dog. Maybe you give a biscuit to a dog every day. You will feel enamored. You will feel, my God, I am such a great man. This dog feels so great about it. He comes every day and he licks my feet and what not. And when you will think that 1,000 families or maybe say 100 families depend on your fortune, you will feel enamored. You cannot imagine. If you remember this, if you are familiar with this, what is this called? Maslow's hierarchy of what is it called? Hierarchy of achievements or something. I don't remember. You give Google search. Maslow's hierarchy, meaning human being has basic need as the beginning. Then they need safety when the basic needs are met. Then they hanker for love and belongingness. Finally, esteem. Ultimately, self-actualization. Entrepreneurship gives everything. Just you give jobs to one particular person, only one job. You create one job for somebody. You feel almost like, lot of esteem, lot of self-actualization. Now, this is a graph that shows the country whose entrepreneurship index is very high, their per capita GDP per individual, per citizen is very high. This is a plot that shows higher the entrepreneurial index, higher the per capita GDP. Meaning and this is just translating per capita GDP to quality of life index. And quality of life index can be translated into happiness index. So higher the entrepreneurial index, meaning more and more people become entrepreneurs in a country, the quality of lives of the citizens are far better. It is proven with data. These data are available and I have plotted that based on the data. I did not copy this plot from anybody. I have just plotted and showed you. So that is how economic value is created. There are too many slides actually. So I have gone too slow. So this is how economic value is created. It's already 55. I don't want to prolong beyond, meaning I don't want to waste your time. So maybe I'll start from here and then we'll go fast. I'll share the slides nevertheless today itself. There is so much to cover and I don't want to run too fast. Maybe the first 10 minutes I'll be talking about the rest of the slides. Okay, thank you very much. And before I quit, I have to take the attendance. Just wait for a while. Let me complete the attendance part. Where is the attendance? I have to stop sharing perhaps. So it was supposed to be here. Meeting notes, detail full screen, dial pad. Just a minute. Let me download attendance list. Yeah, list has already been downloaded, so you can quit one by one. Okay, thank you very much.